Let's begin by looking at a verse from the Quran, specifically verse 5 hours 63 minutes. It asks why religious leaders, both rabbis and doctors of law, don't stop people from committing sinful acts. Why don't they forbid sinful words and actions? The verse clearly states that such an action is evil. But what does this really mean? In this verse, the Quran highlights two key groups: the Rabbanian, spiritual leaders devoted to worship, and the Abar, scholars of Jewish law. Both are expected to play a crucial role in guiding people toward righteousness, making sure that their communities avoid harm and sin. The Quran teaches us that religious leaders have a responsibility, known as al-amr bil ma'ruf, bidding the fair, and nahy anil munkar, forbidding the unfair. But here's the problem: some religious leaders are failing in this duty. They see people committing sins, yet they remain silent, driven by fear of losing followers or perhaps the temptation of material gain. According to scholars, this inaction is worse than the sins committed by those who actually performed the wrongdoings. Why? Because these leaders have the power to stop the harm, but their failure to act is more damaging than the sin itself. That's why this is considered a grave responsibility. In fact, the warning for religious leaders is so severe that some commentators, like Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, say there's no stronger warning in the entire Quran. When leaders fail to guide their communities, they are complicit in the evil around them. Their knowledge and influence are gifts they must use wisely. The Quran warns that if leaders remain silent when they should speak up, their sin is more serious than the crimes of thieves and robbers. This is because their silence allows the spread of evil, which could have been stopped by their guidance. Now, it's important to note that this responsibility only applies when religious leaders are certain that their words will be heard and respected. If the situation is such that speaking out would cause harm or be ignored, the duty to stop the sin might not be required. However, standing up for what's right, regardless of the consequences, is still considered the higher moral conduct.